It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
This episode is brought to you by Hyperice, the leader in advanced warm-up and recovery technology. They have tons of innovative products, like Venom-heated wearables to help soothe sore back muscles, Normatec compression boots to speed up recovery and increase circulation, and Hypervolt massage guns to improve mobility. Loved by athletes like Naomi Osaka and Erling Haaland. Try them yourself. Get 10% off your order with the code MOVE at Hyperice.com.
Reese's peanut butter cups are the greatest, but let me play devil's advocate here. Let's see. So, no, that's a good thing. That's definitely not a problem. Reese's, you did it. You stumped this charming devil.
Welcome back, Ram fans. This is Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are proud members of the Fans First Sports Network. That's fansfirstsports.com. You can also follow us on YouTube. Our channel is at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. You'll hear from my co-host, Tom, on occasion as well. Hey, we're not Rams insiders. We're just longtime fans who love talking about our Los Angeles Rams. Let's get to it.
Welcome to another edition of Rams Up Roundtable. I'm your host, Tom and Callie at Ramsbeat on X, and joined as always by Mark, my co-host for the Rams Up podcast. How you doing, Mark?
Pretty good.
Good stuff. Just a lot of news here in this offseason, keeping us going, leading up to the draft. So seems like a good offseason here. And joined by also regular contributor Ian. How's it going, Ian?
Doing good, LA. I think we're done with the rain randomly, thunderstorms like last week recording the pod. But, doing good, man. I'm still just like, man, is 99 going to be out there at training camp when I go to visit? It's just not happening. And we'll talk more about that. But with that news, doing as best as you possibly can as a Rams fan.
That's it. Right. And also regular contributor Paul. How's it going, Paul?
Doing great out here, holding it down on the East Coast, letting them know. Double bow Ram horns 247.
East Coast Rams, Long Island version.
That's right.
Good stuff. Well, great to have you all, and we're going to dive into a few topics here, but we're going to go back to AD because we want to. And there's a little bit more news that have come out. So the news kind of broke that he told Sean McVay that he was quote, "I'm full," was his exact words after the Lions lost. And so everybody knew from literally the end of last season that he was going to retire. So Ian, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's just like, dang it, man. That team really should have beat Detroit. And we've checked out all the previous roundtables guys of why we lost that game. Should have won it. And it's a shame. That team, this last Rams team, should have been in the NFC Championship competing for the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl against San Fran. It should have been that way. Should have been a semifinal matchup with San Fran to at least, decide the end of Aaron Donald's career that way, And, hey, he put out a little preview clip today of the longer format that is soon to come of him and his wife, Erica Donald. A nice little filmed retirement video. And in that little clip, I don't know if I should play it or not, we'll get in trouble, but long story short, he talks about how he's burnt out. He's burnt out, and how the grind of being ready to give it his all for 17 weeks off season, he just doesn't have it in him anymore. And kudos to him for realizing that. How many times do we hear future Hall of Famers that are in, current players, where if you're not all in, what are you doing? What are you doing playing? You get yourself hurt. You're not being truthful to the organization, your teammates, the brothers they say that you fight for, down in and down out, the coaching staff that is believing in you, hoping you perform well. So props Aaron Donald for accepting that, realizing that, and being fulfilled and being happy where he's at. It seemed like he was happy at the interview. Happy tears was what I saw on that little clip. And as that comes out, I'm sure we'll talk about all the details once that's released. But hey,
yeah, I mean, a lot of guys who have a contract, he could have mailed it in, to some degree. And Aaron Donald version of mailing it in probably would have been better than 95% of the interior defensive linemen.
Pro Bowl level, Tom. Pro Bowl level.
Yeah, right. But and made $30 million, right? So he could have kind of gone through the motions and still killed it without having to take on all that stress that he goes through every year. But he decided not to do it. And like you say, props to him. So any thoughts on AD, Paul, that he let the Rams know, and maybe from the perspective of the Rams, and how do they keep that a secret for this entire offseason?
Crazy. Hold on, my friend. I don't think we can hear you too well.
Goes back to my comment from last week's roundtable. I don't think people were talking, how embarrassing that Detroit Lions loss really was. And it really probably registered on the guy who has to absorb triple teams all game long, right? And looks to the left, looks to the right, and it's like, is everybody, listen, like he said, he had to give that inspirational speech, man, bow up, right? In the middle of a playoff game. It goes back, look, he's one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. There's no question about it. 99 problems. He was the Rams closer. That footage of McVay walking down the sideline, going to him, "This is your time." The guy's got his helmet on. He's like shaking his head. Got it done in the championship game, and then got it done in the Super Bowl. He closed it out. But in that same context, how many times can you tell probably the number one warrior on your team, we're not going to go for it this year? Before it, like he said, I'm full. I can't keep laying it out there, and you guys are going in a different. I mean, listen, he handled it with class, but I bet you somewhere down the line there's going to be an interview that comes out, and Donald's going to let it come out. He's going to be like, "That was BS, man. That was BS. This was BS. That was BS." So I think the Rams should have built around him. It wasn't that long ago. I'll stand by my position. Had they put a superstar on either side of him, they would have had at least one more ring, right? But it is what it is. He still met, and that just goes to show his greatness. Mark was talking about Steven Jackson, a very analogous player, and the fact of his sacrifice. But
crazy,
yeah. I mean, it's like a lot of these players, their talents are wasted, but more importantly, the sacrifice they make for their teams go unnoticed. AD really sacrificed for the Rams. He's a 3 technique who played 4-eye in a tight front and still got it done. A lot of times playing the run. I mean, that's the type of player he was. And really, you know what? It's a shame that they didn't dial it up for him. After all he had done for the team. So, so he should enjoy his retirement. The gold jacket's waiting, and I hope he returns to the NFL in some capacity. I think he'd be a great coach. I think he'd be a great spokesman for the NFL. I hope he's on a couple of committees. And, we know he's going to stay active in the community. So his contributions to football just can't be quantified. And kudos to him. It was an absolute privilege to watch him play in the Rams. Should be hang that jersey in 2024. Find a place, hang it from the rafters, and let it just hang there by itself for a little bit.
So
Be cool with me.
Mark, I wanted to get your take on the salary cap implications of AD's retirement. I'll just summarize. It's been a little confusion. I was able to reach out to some folks that were able to reach out to some folks that talked to the agent and so forth and confirmed this. So this is in stone now. And so it turns out that was originally reported that he was given some parting bonus. It was given his all but he was given like 8.8 million in salary as a parting gift. That's not true. He was the reality is that he had a $10 million salary coming into this season. 8.8 of it was added to his $20 million option bonus. So that means it did not get paid to him. The $5 million roster bonus was paid to him because it was previously guaranteed last year. So he made $5 million of his $35 million, where the Rams are saving $30 million. The long and short of it is before the restructure and then the retirement, he was going to hit 34 million. I'm going to round to $1 million number.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He was going to hit $34 million on the cap in 2024. And after the retirement, now it's 20 million less. It's going to hit 14 million on the cap in dead money. Okay. In 2025, he was going to hit 29 million on the cap. And that's all the money that was pushed out from his first two seasons, right? He got 60 million. A half of it was pushed out. I wasn't fully aware of that, but he was going to hit 29 with the restructure. After the retirement and the restructure, it's going to be 19. So, we're going to save 20 million. Bottom line is we got a 20 million cap credit coming this year and a 10 million cap credit coming next year based upon Aaron Donald's retirement. So,
well, that's way better than I thought it was going to be. Shoot.
Yeah. And Mark, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, that's $20 million to play with this year, right? That we can, that's a lot of money. I mean, you can't go get another Aaron Donald for that. But what are your thoughts, Mark?
Well, I mean, that's good news. Obviously, I have a difficult time tracking salary cap stuff. It's so confusing, and you go to 2 or 3 different sites and the information never matches. And so, to be honest with you, I don't really pay close attention to it. I trust in Demoff and Snead to figure it out. They're the best in the business at it. But I would think that means there may be some moves coming. And, there could be some moves coming very late. And I was doing a little bit on one of the podcasts, I think it's already published, about the Rams signing Leonard Floyd and A'Shawn Robinson. And that came, I think it was late April of 2020, 2021, whatever year it was. So, things are kind of quiet right now. I think the Rams are hopefully, there's something coming down the road. They're going to make some moves. They're going to have to. And I guess, the Donald salary cap implications are going to, those moves are going to help us. And I just wanted to say one thing about Aaron Donald and his retirement at 32 years old. It's always bothered me a little bit. Of course, sitting on my couch, it's easy for me to say. I hear these players say, "Oh, it's go time, it's overtime, it's playoff time to take it up a notch." And Aaron Donald, he never had to take it up a notch. He was at that level from the first snap of the first game of the season all the way, every game, every snap, in my opinion. And so, hey, 10 years of that, man, that's a tough load, and got to consider that.
You know what? I watching these clips, and then you just remember Aaron Donald in big games. He knew that at the end of the game he would have to come up big, right? I mean, so but the way he set up these guys that he was going against with these hand moves, and he'd do the same thing over and over. And then and then next thing you know, he had a move left in his bag to set him up to go to that move and then go to the counter at the end of the game and to win and just to blow right by him. And he did that time and time again on big plays. Watch him doing this. Watch a little bit of tape. He's doing the same thing, and then he all of a sudden, or when this thing and that thing, and next thing you know, he's going to this thing, but a new thing when he really needs to make a play in crunch time. And That's the kind of stuff. I mean, guys just don't do that, right? He's toying with guys out there, setting them up. It's a sight to behold. Anyway, in terms of one more note on the Donald contract, the Rams are going to have to carry in order to accomplish the numbers that I just gave you. They're going to have to essentially, deal with assign him to the retired list essentially after the June 1st, right? So it's essentially the same thing as a June 1st designation if you're cutting somebody, and so retirement's just like a cut for cap purposes. So bottom line is the Rams are carrying right now $33.5 million for him, and then post June 1, 14 of that gets dropped into for this year, and then 19 gets dropped into into next year. So bottom line is on June 1st, on June 2nd, the Rams are freeing up essentially $20 million in cap space. So
yeah,
that's a nice little what's the holiday right at the beginning of summer, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Memorial Day present. So,
well,
anyway.
hey, man, everyone, weren't we talking about not long or the last pod, and even just through the Rams community, just how much this was going to screw us, right? So these are good things to hear. I mean, so be it, right? You pay that price for a Hall of Famer, mega talent, but for it not be this bad, I mean, hey, dude.
I mean, credit the Rams. When he retired, everybody thought, oh, his salary cap's going to just get crushed. But I mean, they didn't. A lot of times they guarantee a lot of money up front. And like in his last contract, they did that. A lot of that money was already paid out. And then he's like, I'm going to hold out because I'm not going to make very much money. And they're like, dude, we already gave you all the money. He's like, I know, but I'll just retire because I'm only going to make 14 million or whatever it was. Some low number. Because everything was pushed into signing bonuses, right? And there was, to be fair, it wasn't his. It was restructures and other things. But this time the Rams did not do that, right? They did not do that. If they had done that, this could have been nasty, right? It could have been like, it could have been. It could have been on the hook for that money. And there's clawback provisions, the Barry Sanders clawback provisions. If a guy retires, you can try and go after some of the bonus money, but it gets ugly and contentious and everything else. And
it's like, don't do that to your best players, like the Lions.
Exactly.
Come on,
guys fake injuries and stuff like that when that happens. So it just could have gotten stupid. So, credit to the Rams, credit to AD for not insisting on it. He could have gotten whatever the hell he wanted, as we know. But anyway, moving on. So, moving on to, with AD gone, we now have a new franchise player in Jimmy Garoppolo. And
it's just, gosh.
So I want to let,
we live in a weird timeline, gentlemen. We really live in an obscure timeline.
Yeah. So I want to go to Paul on this. So, hey, Paul, Jimmy Garoppolo is your new backup quarterback. He is suspended for the first 2 games of the season.
Oh, that's right.
Jesus. And he is also, after being unceremoniously cut by the Raiders because he couldn't play quarterback for them, he was awarded to the Rams with $4.5 million guaranteed with up to 12 million, I think 11 or 12 million dollars potential, depending on.
It's like 11.25.
Yeah, it's like roster bonus. If he plays a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Paul, have at it. What's your thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo and learning of his new $4.5 million guarantee?
I don't know. Tell you honestly, I still don't understand why he's even on the team. I really don't. I mean, if you can't make it with the Raiders, I don't really understand who's in charge of the analysis of this one. Should just basically
Paul McVay said, "What a beautiful thrower of a football, natural." Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
Damn. That's what he said. What Coach McVay said.
That's awesome. The same guy who released his shoulder injury information so he could collect his money. The same guy who accidentally what was his excuse why he's suspended for 2 days? He accidentally did whatever. A lot of accidents seem to happen when Jimmy Garoppolo's around, right? So I mean, look, the Rams are playing with fire. This is exactly this. We've watched it happen They're playing with fire. They haven't learned anything. They are playing with fire. You are playing with the psyche of a very young team, and you brought in, you just lit the fuse. And I'll sit back and I'll watch so we can show up on the round table and say, all right, go back a couple of round tables when I said it was going to happen.
Told you so. Ian, the excuse or the reasoning, I should say, that McVay and company gave to one of the beat writers was that that Garoppolo is a much better system fit, and whereas Carson Wentz wasn't a system fit. This isn't his normal system. He's not used to it. When he did play, when he went in for Stafford for those couple of games, they had to install some new plays for him just so that he was stuff he was comfortable with. So what does that make any sense to you?
Well, look it. Yes, Jimmy Garoppolo is from this Mike Shanahan root of the offense that we run, the 49ers ran. And that makes sense. I get it from that perspective. Yes. Does he know the playbook pretty much? Half of it probably, but the other half is obviously Rams-centric, where those things are specific to our team, our franchise, and Coach McVay's play calling. Okay. Now, I heard that about Brett Rippon because he was a Mike Shanahan quarterback, right? Or quarterback player, I should say, where he was in that system all the time, which is ironically why he kept getting jobs, right? Seattle, when we cut him, now he's going to be the backup possibly for the Bears with Caleb, because Shane Waldron, our old Rams coach, who was the Seattle offensive coordinator the last few years, runs this Shanahan style offense. So I heard that with Brett Rippon, and how was that in Lambeau Field? Pretty effing bad. So now is Garoppolo Rippon? Of course not, everybody. Have we seen good play from Garoppolo? Of course, everybody. But based off the Raiders stint, that was disaster, right? And I think part of that is McDaniels. I don't think he's a great coach outside of Tom Brady being his quarterback, to be honest. The only way I'll be okay with this is if Carson Wentz was demanding, $6, $7, $8+ million. And the Rams are like, no, thanks. If that's the case, then Garoppolo would make more sense to me and I could swallow it. It's really that simple, but that excuse of he fits our system better is lame. If Carson was here, more time in the system, he would learn it. He's not some dumb dude, right? We've seen him play MVP quarterback football for many teams actually in bursts and in full seasons. So that's a lame excuse by whoever was telling our reporters that. But again, only way I'll swallow it is if Carson Wentz was demanding significantly more money to be the backup. Then I'll eat dirt with Garoppolo, and hopefully we never have to see him play. Right? Come on, Stafford.
Stay healthy. Yeah, that's why we got those offensive linemen. Mark, this is almost an identical contract to what Sam Darnold got with the Niners, right? So $4.5 million, 11.5, 12 million, possible, right? It's almost identical. So this is kind of becoming the norm for these, rebuild your reputation after being a starter somewhere, quarterback situation. And Garoppolo even came out and said it. Oh, I want to really rebuild my reputation. I mean, in so many words, come back, a new energy and really show what I can do. And, essentially almost referring to like Baker Mayfield and so forth and what he did. So what are your thoughts on that? Can Jimmy G, can he reclaim his old glory and show the NFL world that he's a good quarterback?
Well, hopefully his only opportunity is the preseason to do that. But if Stafford gets dinged up a couple of games, and can Jimmy G come in? And I'm going to be in the minority here. I'd much rather have Carson Wentz, and I think it's a lot more money than I thought they'd pay Wentz or someone like Jimmy G. But I just remember who we've had back there: Bryce Perkins, John Wolford, Brett Rippon. Those guys, the answer is no. Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, the answer was yes. Jimmy G, hey, I saw Jimmy G slice and dice us a handful of times, and if he's protected and can he get the quarter, can he get the ball to Puka and Cooper and our tight ends, and if he's protected, He's got the arm. He's won at the NFL level. I think he could do a lot worse as far as backup quarterbacks go, but it does seem like a lot of money.
Yeah, makes sense. So yet to be seen, like you said, to start off. Let's hope that we don't have to see it, right?
And this is why the state of quarterbacking in the NFL is what it is.
Yeah, right.
This is why there are the dearth of quality quarterbacks in the NFL, because they keep giving people like Jimmy G jobs, and then talented young quarterbacks never get a roster shot.
It's
right?
true, yeah.
And then they eject quarterbacks that they drafted. I won't even say a name, but they draft a quarterback in the first round, never give him a fair shot, and then the guy can't get a job again. But Jimmy G can bounce around and collect $10 million checks, accidentally use performance and drugs and claim he didn't know, whatever, get a shoulder injury, release it right before free agency so he doesn't get signed. And then people are like, oh, he's a great locker room presence. I'm like, did IQs drop in the NFL recently? Or did we – I don't understand what's going on and what these beat writers are writing. What are you writing about? Who are the people that you are interviewing that are saying that he's a great locker room presence? Give us names. Give us the survey information of where you collected that. All I know is I turned on the Ram game and there were Ram players jumping up and down when Carson Wentz was on the field. It was like watching a youth football game. There was an energy there. What are people not recognizing? It's not about, people want to pull up his stats or whatever. It's not what it's about. Look at the charge that the Rams had on the sideline for this one guy to play one game in their season and how it electrified the team. This is a team sport. Does not matter what anybody wants to say. It will always be a team sport. Think team. And this is not a team signing. And I will go on record right now, find me 10 Rams that will go public and defend him. If that happens, I will buy lunch for everybody in this roundtable for the next 6 months. I will DoorDash, Uber, whatever.
So you're not wearing a Jimmy G jersey to training camp, is what you're saying.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no Jimmy G jerseys for Paul.
And real quick, I just want to share, because I have the quote what he said, Garoppolo, why he chose the Rams. Like, Rams came in about midway through, and I fell in love with the place. They were straight to the point, very professional, which I really appreciated. And there was no messing around about the pitch. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be fun. Start this journey to reset, reinvent, whatever you want to call it. I'm just excited to get back, to playing football and start slinging around with some new guys. That sounds like fun football that I love. That's what Garoppolo said. So, hey,
John, you know what? I'm just going to say, I know it's not going to happen, but wouldn't it be extra sweet to win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G? How would 49er fans feel about that?
Mark. Garoppolo's a good luck charm for backup quarterback Super Bowls, right? Think about all that time with Brady when he had to play and he played football in 4 or 5 games. I think it was like 2 championships he's won with backing up Tom. So, hey.
Let's move on to collect a ring. That's Jimmy G.
Let's move on to somebody that I know that we are all very excited about that's just joined the Rams. Kamren Curl. So, we signed him. We don't have the exact numbers yet. We're still waiting on the numbers, but it looks like, the initial report is 2 for 13. We don't know how it's structured or anything like that, but it seems like a bargain. All the Washington fans that I spoke with think that was crazy. Like, how did we let him get away for that and so forth? And there's Cooper in the background. But the thing with the kind of the news with Kamren Curl is he came out and said in his kind of introductory news conference that the Rams are excited to use him and McVay said this as well. They're excited to use him in new ways, not just as a standard cornerback. Use all of his talents and all of his expertise, and explore what he can do back there as a defensive back, not just as a cornerback. Yeah. And it kind of reminded me of when Jalen Ramsey came to the Rams. He was just so disgruntled with Jacksonville because they wanted to use him as this lockdown corner, leave him on Ramsey Island, a la Revis Island, and just kind of, that was it. He's just like, dude, I can guard their best wide receiver and they'll never throw to him, but I'm not doing anything for the whole game. And he wanted to use more of his talents, and they said, just shut up and do what we say. He came to the Rams and they put him into the star, and he really got involved and really flourished. And so it kind of I'm not comparing Cam Curl to Jalen Ramsey. Don't get me wrong. I'm just comparing their mindset and the skill sets in terms of the diversity of it, and the Rams exploring this, really talented cornerbacks, diverse skill set. And we'll see. Yet to be seen if he can play well there, but that's kind of what it seems like. Paul, what are your thoughts on Cam Curl having a bigger role than just standard cornerback, and do you think it's going to be at the star?
Absolutely. And, Mark and I were talking about this when we were talking about safeties we were going to draft in the upcoming with some of the picks, and who could play the star, and should Lake stay at the star. So, I
like Lake at the star.
Yeah. But this gives them two players that can jump down and play the star. A lot of their split half coverages, think about that now. If they go back to that cover 6 look, it just makes it that much better, because they don't have to compromise any one side of the field now. So I think that's why he's excited, and rightfully so. I think this kid used to play corner, man. This kid used to play corner. He's that good. So, you're getting a young ascending player at, I don't know how they pulled this off for that price, but kudos to them. And this kid's going to prove them, correct. And he's going to be incredible value for that contract. He hits like a ton of bricks. He plays with intensity. He's a positive presence. He can play it any way you need it. You need him to shut down center field, he can do that. You need him to bring the pain in the box, he can do that. You need him to jack a tight end, he can do that. So that's, him talking about this and everything else is, what I've been hinting at. I honestly think Chris Shula is going to dial it up a little bit more this year. I really do. And now that AD's gone, they're going to have no choice, right? Yeah. They have no choice. They're going to dial it up a little bit, and I think it's going to help this defense. They're going to be young and hungry, and they're going to bring in some more players for sure. I definitely think someone like Clowney is coming to the Rams, right? They're going to show, they're not going to just go all rookies. It's just not wise. Yeah, it's not wise. They have to beef up that pass rush a little. And I think this kid is going to be a big part of it. Look at that secondary right now, safety-wise. Lake and Curl, that's pretty, in my opinion, that's pretty impressive right there. And they'll get a little bit deeper, hopefully, at corner.
Reese's peanut butter cups are the greatest, but let me play devil's advocate here. Let's see. So, no, that's a good thing. That's definitely not a problem. Reese's, you did it. You stumped this charming devil.
Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Survivor 46 is here, and so is On Fire, the only official Survivor podcast, and we have a twist this season. The winner of Survivor 45, Dee Valladares, will be joining us every week.
We're going behind the scenes of the biggest moments, the how and the why things happen, and the strategy and analysis you can only get from someone like me, a Survivor winner.
Listen to On Fire, the official Survivor podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Getting engaged is a moment worth cherishing. A one-of-a-kind ring that you design at Blue Nile can help your love sparkle. Just choose your diamond and setting. When you've found the one, you'll get it delivered right to your door. Finding the right engagement ring can be nerve-wracking. At Blue Nile, you'll have the expert guidance needed and a diamond guarantee that ensures you're getting the highest quality at the best price. Cherish all of life's moments and save up to 30% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
I like what I'm hearing so far. Let's see how it plays out on the field. You know, the Rams got some very big shoes to fill. They're going to have to do it with multiple players and not just scheme. So I like what I'm hearing, and I like the kids' enthusiasm. That's what we're talking about. That's what we, my soliloquy before. It's these are the kind of guys you want. The guys that play like their hair is on fire. They're ready to go. They're ready to lay it out for the team. And that's what they got in this kid. Cam the Ram is back.
Ian, do you think that if it sounds like Cam Curl is kind of slotted in for that no pun intended for that star position? Do you think that Quentin Lake can hold it down at kind of a strong safety position, and one kind of that too high safety look that the Rams love in that matchup zone with somebody like Yeast or something? Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Quentin Lake's best football was from the star, that slot area, nickel-ish, that kind of everything DB that's why we call it the star here. He played his best football there. He didn't play a ton really up top unless it was garbage time in his rookie year, some moments, this last campaign. So he's best there. Russ Yeast was best at the dime linebacker spot. And real quick, for everybody who doesn't know what that is, that's when you have that sixth defensive back in place of another player. We switch out an inside linebacker, a Rose Boom, and we put him there next to Ernest Jones. He played really good football there, Russ Yeast. Now, both those guys didn't play a whole ton up top, and if they did, it was kind of 50-50 whether it was good or not so good. So as of right now, my ideal lineup would be, obviously, Darius, Kobe Durant on the outside. I know we want to narrow him down to the slot because of his size, but he's been vocal about it. He's not comfortable in the slot or the star. He's not. He plays better on the outside, and the film backs that up too. Him at the outside as of today. Quinn Lake in the slot star, Ernest on the inside, Russ Yeast as the dime, Cam Curl up top, and then we'll figure out whoever else the safety will be, whether John Johnson comes back, a Simmons, we draft somebody. That would be the ideal lineup. Now, everything's going to be dictated off who we draft and who we continue to sign. But based off who's on this roster today, that's how I would lay it out. Now, can Quentin Lake grow and be a traditional up-top safety and play good football? It's possible. He improved drastically from year one to year two. But time will tell. Time will tell. I'd rather have Kamren Curl back there because I've seen him play elite football up top. And that's what we want. We want everybody to be in the best spots possible. And as of right now, that's where everyone should be. But we'll see what happens. But I think Quentin Lake could do it. We'll find out.
Mark, thoughts on Quentin Lake or Cam Curl playing up top, or do they switch it around? I mean, obviously, having those interchangeable parts, the Rams, if you look at their defensive backfield of the last 2 years, for sure, and even beyond that to a certain degree, there's always so many injuries and so many issues. Yeah. So having two studs that can play the star position, which is essentially almost like the quarterback, if you will, of the defense, is pretty important.
And real quick, Cam Curl was a Green Dot guy in Washington, right? Was he? I'm like 90% sure on that.
I don't know. That's a good question.
That matters too, though. By the way, shoot, he can handle it.
Yeah, I think what Ian is getting at, and I think I agree with it, is that Quentin Lake's extremely talented. You move him from star to safety, are you weakening two positions? We know we can get it done at the star. And hey, if they're going to mix it up, maybe they're going to throw a bunch of different looks. They have they have 6 or 7 competent defensive backs at this point, or somewhat competent, I guess, and they can go a lot of different ways. I think they need to sign one more guy, though, and definitely draft a safety. But what I'm being selfish here, I just know, Paul and I, when we do our mock drafts, this is new information for me that Curl could move up and play the star. What do we look for in defensive backs in a mock draft? Are we looking for just flat out cornerbacks? Do we need to go safety? We need a jack of all trades back there. I don't know. It's so hard to predict to know what the Rams are thinking in that regard. But
I mean, shoot, guys, we didn't sign Akello Witherspoon until like almost early July this last offseason, which is crazy. It ended up being our best corner. So, I mean, there's still a lot of time to figure out what the hell is going to happen on defense, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned Trey Tomlinson, and maybe he's just a special teams guy.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But yeah, we have, like we just talked about, a lot of cap space now, and like 2020.
Get Akello back here, man. Him and Darius, I feel good about that two outside guys. Him and Akello.
23 million now, and plus another 20 coming down the pike after June. So a lot of money coming, and that's not to mention there's plenty more where that came from if they want to start kicking the can down the road and do some restructures. So, but moving to off the field news. So Ian, give us a summary of what you heard about McVay being the NFL's best free agent recruiter.
Yeah, McVay, gosh, a year ago, we didn't even know if he was going to coach football. Gee, look how things just happened in the not-for-long league. And now he's reported by Diana Rossini, who was longtime ESPN reporter for, covering not just a small city, but doing national reporting for ESPN for the NFL. Now is one of the head people at The Athletic, which we enjoy here on the spot, at least I do. And she's reported in a little tweet that Coach McVay, Sean McVay's been the best phone call recruiter by far, according to players she's talked to and agents of players, which, hey, man, if there's a time for Sean to really have to be tapped into the collegiate side of the sport and get people to want to join, this is it, man, because we need all the help we can get now that 99 is gone, right? We need as many talented players and affordable deals as possible. And shoot, I'm happy to hear that because we need it. And that kind of ties into something I'm sure we'll talk about afterwards, but I'm happy to hear that, man, that Sean cares. He's all in, trying to get the best players possible here, and is no nonsense about doing it himself, which a lot of times it's like GM talk, agent talk, right? There's really not a football schematic talk that goes on. A lot of times you hear from players it's more about just financials and money and how much guarantee, a lot of times that's how things are dictated. But Sean's calling up people personally and saying, this is how you're going to fit with our team, and this is what I envision for you. Cam Curl said it. Garoppolo said it. Jonah Jackson said it. Colby Parkinson all said it in their press conference that they talked to Sean, and he had a vision for them. And let's keep that vision going, Sean, for everybody else that wants to join, because that's great news.
Mark, thoughts on Sean McVay's recruiting sales capabilities?
Yeah, I just heard that for the first time today, and surprise, surprise. I would have expected that to be the case. He's just got that personality. He's so engaging, so enthusiastic. Not surprised at all. And it's, if it helps push players over the edge to actually signing with the Rams and coming to LA, that's a big part of it too. Okay. A lot of these guys, say what you want about LA, but I think a lot of young football players would love to be here. And I think that's part of it too.
You imagine how much this popped into my mind. Paul, can you imagine how much if he retired and he went into, say, broadcasting and made a bag with, one of these streaming services, Apple or whatever. Can you imagine how much he would also make on the corporate motivational speaking tour? Like he'd be a $500,000 speech guy for the big corporations around the country. So
you'd be the most successful timeshare salesperson in the world, right? There's no question about that. But a lot of people did mention that when he was talking about retirement, it was because people all these different entities were reaching out to him like, listen, we have a gig for you whenever you're ready. And they were throwing big numbers at him. So, I mean, he's got a great personality. Listen, he brings that electricity to the team. His enthusiasm, his love for the game and everything else. So, I mean, it's great. They just have to parlay that now. If he's the best recruiter, then that could be a big reason why they got Curl on such an affordable deal. It's time to replenish, the shelves. Start bringing in the weaponry that we need to get it done on both sides of the ball. So that's going to be definitely utilized to its maximum over the next season.
Yeah, a lot of time that stuff comes into play when a guy is an older guy, and he's not going to get a big contract. He's just going to go. He could go anywhere he wants. He's a free agent. He's been cut by somebody or whatever. He can just go anywhere. He can go wherever. Maybe he's being paid by his previous team. Who knows? And like Russell Wilson was, right? He can just go wherever. And the Steelers are paying him $1.2 million. It's crazy. So
yeah. And then to that point, real quick, I mean, Tre'Davious White, former All-Pro for the corner for the Bills, visited with us today, and I think his other scheduled visits, according to Adam Schefter, were Tennessee, rebuilding, New York, a mess, rebuilding always. I mean, hey, bro, I'm sure Sean had a vision for him, and it sounded pretty dang nice. So, I mean, right? I mean, based off everything we just talked about. So that's somebody else where I'm a little worried about his injury history, but, the sales pitch is strong, and he comes in on a vet, on an affordable deal now with this new cap space you explained earlier in the pod, Tom. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, if T. White stays healthy, man, he is a great fit for that scheme.
What do you think Paul, what do you think he's worth? Like, what would you give him? Let's all these things are 2 years now. 2 years.
2 years?
2 years. I mean
he's a tough.
So D. Will got 2 years, 20. What does he get? What does Trey White get?
I mean, T. White, I think it would be on the medicals, right? Whatever the medicals come back as, that would pretty much dictate it. I think he'd be a little bit under what D. Will got, only because of that. Yeah. But I can tell you, I always thought he was an underrated corner. I really do. I think he and Steven Nelson are perfect for this defense. So if T. White doesn't work out, they got to bring Nelson. Nelson is tailor-made for this defense. But it's just a great example of players coming in and wanting to be here. That's the bottom line. Yeah, if the dude wants to be here, you're going to see them take a little bit less. You're going to see them work out the dollars because they want to be here. It's a nice environment. It's a great place to play, the Rams just got to get back into the mindset of let's get back to winning. They've been so far removed from winning. There have been so many distractions, which is another reason why I don't like the Jimmy G signing. It's just another distraction. There have been so many distractions over the last 2 seasons. Let's just get back to focusing on winning.
Yeah.
I think Steven Nelson's with the Raiders now too, Paul. If I remember
probably right? Well, he's not good, man. He's a great corner, an underrated corner.
Yeah, there's still so many guys out there. We'll see what happens there. So, Mark, let's go to our final topic. So, I'm going to let Ian do the intro on this, on how it all came down. But our quarterback Stafford is going to be featured on an NFL Films kind of mic'd up a documentary. And Ian, lead off on how that came to pass, and then we'll throw it over to Mark and get his take on it.
Yeah, so if everyone remembers the highly, acclaimed, the very much watched quarterback show that was on Netflix, where it was Mahomes, it was Kirk Cousins, where he got a lot of his fame, and now he's everyone's favorite white boy quarterback, right? Marcus Mariota. Who else is on that? Was it just them three? It might have been just them three, if I remember correctly. But regardless, great hit, and they want to do another season of that. So they approached Matthew Stafford, who was the only NFL quarterback who was down to do it. The only one. Whoever else they approached, everyone said no, and I don't know who those people were. But Matthew was the only guy, which is why you saw this last week, everybody, that Netflix switched it to receiver, where now you see Jefferson, you see Kittle, even though he's a tight end, weird. You see Debo, you see Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're going to be the focus for this, full-on season all-around. Right? Devontae, yes, that's right. So, because Stafford was the only guy who was down, NFL Films has teamed up with the Rams media team to do their own quarterback show, which will only be featuring Matthew Stafford. And that'll be coming out, I think, within the next month, if I'm not mistaken. I'll find the date exactly for that. And that's how that came to be. Stafford was the only one down. Netflix KO'd the quarterback segment, went to receiver. But NFL Films is like, wait. This guy's pretty good. We want to follow him around. So that show is going to be made. And I think it's going to premiere on YouTube and also on NFL.com and NFL Network simultaneously. A weekly episode that'll be aired just like any other show you would subscribe to. So that's pretty cool. I know what I'm going to be watching, and I'm not going to be watching some 49er nonsense, even though I might watch the last episode where they lose the ball. That might give me a little joy, but pretty crazy. No other quarterbacks wanted to do it, gentlemen. Kind of shocking, honestly.
Mark, what do you expect from the Stafford documentary?
Well, I don't know. I saw the trailer. My son sent it to me, and I was pretty jacked up just watching the trailer. But that's what trailers do, right? I think it seemed to be very family oriented, which is fine. And I did notice he made a reference to earning a gold jacket, and to earn the gold jacket, he needs to win another Super Bowl. Yeah. So, I don't know. Really excited. I will definitely watch that one. I did not watch I don't watch a lot of stuff if it's not Rams stuff. So, I'll watch that for sure. I'm not sure about the Netflix show though.
Optimus 9, baby.
Hey, real quick, April 18th it premieres on YouTube,
nice.
NFL Network. Anyway, I just want to share that date real quick. Soon.
So, Paul, what are you more jacked up for? The Stafford doc or the quarterbacks doc? I'm sorry, or the receivers doc?
So would I want to watch Optimus 9 or the Narcissism special on Netflix? I don't know.
That's our psychologist. We'll go ahead and comment on that. But as a professional, psychologist, I want to hear your thoughts on why receivers have that narcissistic personality. I would love to hear that from you.
I'm not knocking receivers, and I'm not diagnosing.
But it's true.
So I know. I just think that is. Listen, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. That is like the hype position, right? The wide receivers, they want the ball. Give me the ball. They want the glory. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
That's true, except for Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Cooper
Marvin
Kupp,
Harrison, Marvin
Nakua.
But it's not like I said. It's not
because they don't have to say "give me the ball" because they get the damn ball, right?
Yeah, Hall of Fame quarterbacks deliver it equally. So yeah.
Anyway,
but that's what makes Stafford special, right? That's what makes Stafford special, right? And that's why he's got a personality. He's genuine. Listen, not knocking wide receivers. There's great wide receivers, and you need guys that are dogs like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But Stafford special is just going to be different. It's going to be, it's going to be real. It's going to be about all the things that we've been talking about AD. We see it in the gunslinger that is Staff, man. Now, this is a guy that everybody in this room knows that he should not have been back in that game in Detroit. When he came out of that tent, I don't know what he pulled off. It's like that scene from Rocky. Remember that scene from Rocky when the trainer's got his hand and he's letting him know when the ref goes how many fingers and he touches him in the back of the head. It was one of those scenarios, probably.
Honestly.
But Staff is just great to watch when he's out there and just hearing, he's one of those guys that wherever he is, people are just going to gravitate to him. So kudos to them for recognizing them. And, all kidding aside, the Netflix special I think is going to be interesting. Just getting all the different personalities, man. Wide receivers they're very, their personalities are out there. Some people don't like it. Some people do. Some people, that's why I think related to that controversy at the combine. I think what that came out with certain players saying, yeah, I'm not going to get measured. Listen, I got 3 years of film. Go watch it. What do you and we've seen it where players, because of their personalities, get hammered, in the media or public opinion, and it's not fair to them. So, we'll see. We saw Randy Moss go through that throughout his career, right? We saw T.O. go through that. T.O.'s still going through that, right? Chad Johnson went through that. Remember that? So wide receiver is always going to be that position that is just very polarizing, right? Michael Irvin was still is to this day, very outspoken. But like what Mark said, for every one of those outspoken players, you get those quiet assassins like Jerry Rice, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't participating in the Ohio State Pro Day, and they don't have so many of those guys are coming back there. So he's taking you're saying,
and to that point, Stu Jackson, who writes all those articles for the Rams on the Rams.com, and you hear him in press conferences, he put out a tweet that made me chuckle. He was like, "Gosh, what a selfish guy. I hope he falls 18 spots. We're pick 19."
Yeah, I love
hoping that he falls down, which that'd be crazy. Yeah, he would fit this offense really nicely. And we'll get to receivers, I'm sure, soon. But
yeah, Marvin, do not show up for any interviews or anything. Just stay at home. We'll take care of the rest.
Yeah. So, so today I sent the crew here my first mock draft. I really haven't been, diving into it that much. And so today I decided, well, I'm going to kind of do the post Aaron Donald draft. And I went in and started messing around and started seeing all these players. You see the players, and everybody does mock drafts. You see all the players available, and you kind of scroll down. You see, God, there's so many guys down there. I'd rather have two of them than one of them. And so pretty much every opportunity I got, I traded down in the draft, as long as it was for a 2024 pick, not a 2025 pick. Ended up drafting 24 players, 10 interior defensive linemen / edges, a bunch of cornerbacks. I got that quarterback from the one quarterback from Notre Dame that could be a guy in 6th round. But so but my takeaway.
I know. What do we got here? We got Frank Gore Jr. in here.
Yeah, we got. He was at the very.
He's
at the very end of the draft. I mean, the guy was like the 7th rounder. But my takeaway was, holy cow! How many great players are there at the bottom of this draft? And the Rams do notoriously trade down at the end of the draft for more players. So I'm predicting that they're going to end up with, what do we have going into the draft, Paul? Mark, how many draft picks do we have?
11.
11.
We have 11 picks.
And that's tied for first, right, gentlemen? That's tied for first most in the NFL going into the draft.
And so I'm going to predict we're going to end up with 14 again, like we did last year. I really am. I think they're going to push down. I don't think they're going to push up. I think they're smart guys analytically, and they're like, you know what? I'll take 2 guys, 15 picks lower than one guy that I love. And they're pretty self-aware. I don't think that they particularly fall in love with guys and have to go get them like other draft rooms do. And they've kind of learned, I think, from last year, hey, if we draft 14 guys, we're going to have a 4th round Stetson Bennett. We're going to have the prior year, we're going to have a Bruss here or there. But for the most part, the more the better, right? I mean, just at the end of the day, ultimately, we like a bunch of guys. Let's get as many of the guys we really like, and we have a much better chance of finding a couple of gems like a Kobe Turner or a Byron Young. Or, I mean, Steve Avila was pretty early on. He was going to be a proven guy. Or, Kyron Williams or Puka Nacua, or, these guys just come out of nowhere. And so I think the more the merrier, man. I'm all in for the more the merrier when it comes to the draft, instead of going after that guy that you love. Plus the fact in the first round, like guys like Paul's been talking about, Byron Young, if you get these 3 or 4 quarterbacks and 3 or 4 receivers, or 2 or 3 receivers pushing everybody else down, and then you got your numbers, your stud edges with Verse and some of these other guys, right? You're going to find these guys. You're going to find the best interior defensive lineman, whoever you want, at number 19. You're just going to find him there. So
I hope so. Dang it.
Super excited about this draft.
It's going to be crazy because, man, dude, like we said in previous pods this last month or two, it's BS season, rumor season, a lot of nonsense being said unless you have credible people saying it. But man, these quarterbacks are going to inflate their position, and they're going to deflate everybody else, and that's just better for us, right? I mean, shoot. I mean, guys, I'm getting to the receiver group. Oh my goodness. Look, obviously we met with Adunze and others, and I know it's a little draft and we have time to talk about this, but just real quick, there's some people that we are going to have an opportunity to get in the 2nd round that are 1st round worthy, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. There's so much. And all those offensive linemen are up top. I mean, all these studs, generational players, people keep saying, right? All these, once in a.
I know that term is so.
I know it's so overused.
Irritating. I know it's irritating.
Yeah, but you get all these guys that are, like big hits. Okay, so now, having said that, let's go back to the Paul. Let's go back to the 2 drafts, the quarterback drafts with Lawrence and Mac Jones and all of these guys, right? There were 2 years in a row that 19 quarterbacks were drafted in both rounds. And I mean, in all the rounds, right?
Oh, wow.
And 2 years in a row, right? And there are now, out of the 19, only 2 are starters on their team. 2 out of 19.
It's crazy.
It's Lawrence and Mr. Irrelevant for the Niners. I won't say his name. Brock Purdy. So 17 guys. You know, you just go down the list with all the Fields and all the guys that are gone and just didn't convert. I mean, that's terrible odds.
Yeah, that's bad.
Right, but that goes to what I said earlier, right? Is that that's why the state of quarterbacking in the NFL is what it is. So when people say, he's great for the system, right? He's great for the system that has been unable to develop a quarterback in 2 decades. So yeah, so what good is that? You know, when you talk about all these different teams and they refer to their systems, yeah, the same system that couldn't develop a first rounder 5 years ago, the same system that still hasn't developed a quarterback. So maybe the system needs to change. Maybe it's not the quarterbacks that are coming in. Maybe it's the fact that a lot of teams that we've talked about are keeping like these relics as coaches and assistant coaches who cannot adapt to the level of talent that is coming out at that position. Take a look at the quarterback position and how it has evolved. Look at the quarterback that won the Super Bowl. You have a mobile quarterback that doesn't just run around, can win games with his arm, you know, who is intelligent, who can dissect the defense. And you're paying guys $10 million, which we said the person's name already, who can do none of that. So is it the quarterbacks that are failing, or are the systems failing these quarterbacks? So that's my opinion. And my opinion is that, look, you know, Andy Reid talks about it all the time. He changed when Patrick Mahomes was there because he recognized this kid does not fit my system. My system has to fit this kid. This kid's a winner. This kid has talent, and I'm not tapping into that talent. And a lot of these quarterbacks, and it's a shame, these young kids that come into the NFL, they're uber talented, that have everything it takes to succeed. And that's the one position in the NFL that is notoriously undercoached. Right? It's like, oh, he can't do this. And the proof is people call Tom Brady the GOAT. Tom Brady was drafted in what round? What does that tell you about the NFL evaluation of quarterbacks? Right?
Yeah.
It's a disaster. It is an absolute disaster.
I think it's just a lot of times these guys go to just crap situations. Let's be honest, right? The higher you are, unless you do trade ups like we have done, right? Unless you have a good offensive mind, which is the other half of it, these guys aren't ready to overcome the disasters. Andrew Luck's the one special case, but he had, I want to say his rookie campaign, he had, oh my gosh, Bruce Arians, who was a good offensive mind. So that saved him at the time in Indianapolis. Yeah. And other than that, Cam Newton being a super freak, literally being a Hercules on steroids for a human being. The number one overall picks don't work out unless a lot of things are in place. Good coaching, good play calling, a roster that isn't just straight garbage. I mean, I feel for Bryce, not a good situation. CJ Stroud, luckily he's one of the few that was just hitting off on all cylinders, but they drafted well. A lot of their young players performed.
And they had a great coach, great young coach,
a
players coach.
And, you know, we can go down the list of all these guys, but at the end of the day, I think the Rams really put teams in a bind about the win now mentality. Is like, hey, you can win a championship soon if you allocate your resources properly. And I think that screwed with teams' head. And now they're giving up on their quarterbacks to, 1, 2, 3 years max. And hey, I mean, let's be honest. If Jared Goff didn't get Sean McVay, would he have been on the Rams past a year or two either? Who knows? I would probably say no. That was probably a high chance that he would be gone after a couple seasons if McVay didn't come and help him out. So it's crazy. I'm glad we're not in that situation, gentlemen. We got a top 10 quarterback future Hall of Famer as ours, and woo.
Yeah, and the quarterback that you cite is a great example. Look at Andrew Luck. He had to retire from the NFL because of physical, not because of any of the other things.
He got his ass kicked.
The poor guy, man. They just battered every game. He's battered every game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was.
Yeah, and if Stafford gets to the Hall of Fame, which I hopefully he does, I wonder which uniform he'll wear.
Oh, I know which one uniform he's in.
Well, rings are forever, so they say, and that's the hardware he'll be wearing.
Yeah,
right?
especially
he didn't get to the Hall of Fame as a Lion.
And I think I had tongue in cheek when I asked that, because I think his last visit to Detroit pretty much settled that argument.
And
how
real
he
quick,
was treated.
I mean, look, and not to bring up any San Fran nonsense, but does everyone think of Steve Young as a Buccaneer for all those times he was there? Nope.
Or a member of the LA Express?
Yeah,
that too, yeah.
USFL.
Shoot, dude. We can go down the list, but it sucks to be those teams. Even though I think Caleb Williams, with the team they're assembling, I think he has a chance to have a nice season, actually.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's. You all bring up a good point. The Rams took a lot of heat over the last 3 or 4 years about how they do their business, and I don't think they're going to be taking much flack anymore. No matter what they do, how they go about it. Mortgaging the future, drafting 14 players, everything seems to have worked for them, except for the 1 year. And I think a lot of people are going to keep their mouths shut when they, as far as their critiques of the Rams business model.
That's right. Bill's front office.
Mike Florio.
Everyone out there that said it was years of disaster coming. 1 year of disaster due to injury.
And there was the one commentator. He used to be the Jets general manager. Paul probably knows who he is. Mike something, and he was going on and on about how the Rams are being irresponsible, the way they're handling their cap and trading picks. And
you know what's funny about that too, Mark, about Lombardi? He has all look at some stuff. There's like anybody, there's outrageous things, there's clickbait things. A lot of these personalities say, but damn, for a former GM, if everything made so much sense, why don't you have a job anymore, dude? I mean,
right, exactly.
Or you mean when that what was that announcer? Oh, I forgot his name now. Oh my gosh, he was obnoxious at every NFL draft, and he would be the analyst, and he would analyze all these prospects, and then he got the GM gig, and he was out for the Raiders. Mike, whatever.
Mike Mayock.
Yeah. And in 2 years,
I like his analysis too, though. I did like his NFL Network stuff.
Yeah, and then he proved as a GM that he knew nothing about running a team.
And the one that got it right the most I don't think he's around it. Merrill Hodge. They show some of his old tapes and just nailing stuff on his analysis.
I think of that old
example. Ian, you're gonna love this point, right? You talked about C.J. Stroud, who I absolutely love, right? Right. Yeah. They knocked him. They said he wasn't intelligent enough to play quarterback. Like
stupid,
right?
He was so much better than Bryce Young. I was shocked that they didn't take him number 1, Carolina.
Now do we understand, Ram Nation, why Caleb Williams was like, screw you guys. I talk to you guys. You're going to sink my ship. No way. He's like, listen, I'll let the tape speak for itself, and he's going to let the NFL come to him. So, good for him. And listen, the NFL shot itself in the foot collectively. The way they've treated a lot of their players and the way they've run the combine and everything else. So, it is what it is, and more power to Caleb Williams and players like them take back, what is rightfully theirs, their ability to play football and decide how they're going to be marketed and where they're going to go. They have that right, and good flex on their part. And Marcus Allen is smiling, right? Because he's been talking about that for decades.
Yep, good stuff.
Let's wrap it up. I just hope our next quarterback is we don't miss on that whenever that day comes.
Yeah,
just thinking about these dark scenarios we all went through.
Still got a couple of years, dude.
No, I know. I'm just saying when that time comes, just please, Sean McVay, just figure it out.
Sam Hartman in the 6th round.
Mark, who should we draft in the 6th round?
Sione Vaki.
No, quarterback-wise.
Oh, quarterback-wise. The Florida State quarterback.
Yeah, he's there.
Jordan Travis. Well, what the Rams are going to do with their next quarterback is keep your eye on a floundering franchise that has a really good quarterback, and the Rams will trade for him.
Well,
Ian, Trevor Lawrence is coming to LA, according to Mark.
Oh, well, it's not everything's on the table, guys. I mean, all I saw were the quotes this offseason of that we have the ammo to be aggressive, and that's just in our DNA, said Les Snead and Sean McVay. So anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Mark, your strategy is going on the assumption that Jacksonville is going to struggle for the next couple of seasons. Way to go out on a limb.
Well, I wasn't even thinking of Trevor Lawrence, but by then Justin Fields, who knows? There's other quarterbacks out there. I don't know. I'm not a quarterback guru. I'm just throwing names out there, but I just don't know if McVay will have the patience. I guess he would, to draft a rookie and turn the reins over to a rookie year one. Maybe. Yeah, it depends on who it is, I guess.
Yeah, who knows? Well, let's wrap it up there, guys. Good hour of good convo and touched on a lot of topics. So good stuff. Well, we'll see what happens in Rams world over the next week or so and reconvene midweek next week. And until then, thanks again, Mark and Paul and Ian. And again, I'm your host, Tom, at Rams Beat on X. And we'll see you guys next week.
Keep it 99, Ramley.
Number one forever. Check out my screen. Number one forever. In your hearts, in the Ram Nation, in the Hall of Fame. I mean, Dion talks about the room above the other rooms, and he's one of those guys. Aaron Donald forever.
That's it.
Well
99
said.
problems. 99 problems.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.